A wise man once said that mutation is the key to our evolution. Change is a fundamental part of what makes a mutant. Over the past 60 years, we've been introduced to a variety of X-Men, each with different uncanny abilities. The team's roster has changed a lot as well. What began as a group of teenagers in the 60s became something all new and all different in the 70s. The 80s gave us new members like Rogue and Rachel Summers in the comics, and an X-Men video game on the Nintendo Entertainment System. Jubilee became a breakout member of the X-Men in the 90s. She'd also frequently team up with Wolverine in his series, and was a main character in the X-Men animated series. Heck, she even crashed the McDonald's Happy Meal. So you know what? Let's spend some time on this video chatting about McDonald's and everyone's favorite merry mutants.
Mutants? Did somebody say mutants?
Oh my stars and garters. It's that weekend warrior. Don't tell me that in addition to being a toy collector and connoisseur, you're also an expert in mutation?
Sure am. You know I love the Ninja Turtles. Like Bebop and Rocksteady. And my boy, Mondo Gecko.
Now hold on. Let me stop you right there. We're actually discussing a different kind of mutant. In fact, we were all about to take a look at some of the X-Men toys that have appeared at McDonald's.
Wait. If you're exploring the world of X-Men, you need to talk about the cross-promotion in the 90s that was done by Pizza Hut.
And just like that, we've unlocked another core memory. Welcome to our first ever episode of Pizza Hut Unboxed, I guess, where we'll uncover the truth behind the pizza chain's promotional tie-ins. Please take a moment, click that like button, and if this is your first time checking us out, why not supersize your experience and subscribe to Retro Spectrum. The early 90s were kind of a golden age of pizza dining. Sure, you could snag something cheap from Little Caesars or order delivery from Domino's, but classy families would take a trip to Pizza Hut. Nothing screams fine dining or authentic Italian cuisine like red plastic cups and those Tiffany-style chandeliers wrapped with the words Pizza Hut. Like, I might have forgotten where I was if it wasn't for those lamps. What's more, if it was kids' night at Pizza Hut and my parents told us we couldn't go out and grab a pan pizza, well, there'd be one thing I'd have to say to that.
I go where I wanna go.
Wolverine has been a mainstay of the X-Men since joining the team in the 70s. He'd burst onto television screens in 1982 with the rest of the X-Men on a special episode of Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. As exciting as it was to see the X-Men come to life, I'm not sure why Wolverine, the Canadian member, sounded almost Australian, I guess.
How you doing? Want a piece of fruit?
But you know what? They'll probably get it right the next time around. 7 years later, we almost had our first X-Men animated series. Pride of the X-Men premiered on Marvel Action Universe, the same program you may remember for airing Dino Riders and episodes of the RoboCop cartoon. Only during the 80s could a movie like RoboCop get a children's show. Oh hey, before I forget, the word pride is actually spelled P-R-Y-D-E, like Catherine Pryde, the Shadow Cat. In addition to Kitty, viewers were also introduced to Dazzler, Cyclops, Storm, Colossus, Nightcrawler, and of course, the Wolverine.
Wait, she's not joining the X-Men, is she? She's just a kid.
Dear Lord, they did it again. I mean, Hugh Jackman actually is from Australia, and even he doesn't use an Australian accent.
This is the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Back off!
In any case, Pride of the X-Men never evolved into something more. Fans of the X-Men would need to wait a few more years before studios would try it again.
By 1992, the popularity of everyone's favorite heroes in a half shell was starting to wane. The Power Rangers were growing in popularity, and a team of superhero outcasts had premiered on primetime television on Halloween.
Get ready for the time of your life. Get the mute! It's all new, explosive X-Men excitement on Fox.
Don't y'all leave now, the fun just started.
So watch all new X-Men excitement explode this Saturday morning on Fox and...
Watch out, get out of the way!
X-Men, the animated series, started regularly airing on Saturday mornings in 1993 and it wouldn't be long before mutant mania took hold.
For kids in the 90s, the X-Men theme was something like a Saturday morning anthem. Plus, if you weren't familiar with the source material, the opening does an incredible job of introducing you to some of the important characters.
Now, while some of us, like Jason and myself, simply adore the intro to X-Men, when the series was exported to the land of the rising sun, they took it upon themselves to completely overhaul the title sequence. Now, middle-aged fanboys like myself don't typically care for change. It's kind of bad for our blood pressure. However, what these Japanese animators put together was, simply put, uncanny. It might even make you...
Toy Biz brought us a variety of toys and action figures, but the fun didn't stop there. The X-Men arcade game was released the same year the animated series premiered. Even though it wasn't directly inspired by the television series, it was still an amazing game and worth bringing up. Several more X-Men video games would appear on home consoles as well, but none of them were nearly as impressive as that 6-player arcade cabinet.
Hey, you! Do you know how much that game costs?
Yeah, $0.25.
Unlike most cartoons that tend to be standalone, the X-Men animated series took a serialized format. It made the scope of the show feel grand and gave audiences time to see characters grow and evolve. For example, I want to know how many of you out there remember the Phoenix Saga.
It's an exciting, all new. How can we fight something we can't catch? 5-part X-Men adventure. It could destroy the entire galaxy?
The X-Men's most epic adventure aired for almost an entire week straight. This 5-part miniseries took the X-Men into outer space in order to defeat the villainous Emperor D'Ken. Along the way, Jean Grey gains the godlike powers of the Phoenix. Now, even though this was several years before Marvel's cinematic universe, we did get some pretty exciting cameos from Alpha Flight, War Machine, and Spider-Man's hand. Back then, crossovers like these were kind of rare, so seeing something like this was absolutely wild. With so much excitement surrounding this 5-part miniseries, I had to make a pretty compelling case in order to make sure we were home on time to see every single episode. I remember my mom telling me we had other plans and wouldn't be able to leave early in order to watch episode 4. You can probably guess what I said to her.
I go where I wanna go. X-Men!
The team's lineup, well, it really resembles Jim Lee's designs from the comic book. You had Wolverine, obviously, along with Cyclops, Jean Grey, Storm, Beast, Gambit, Rogue, and Jubilee. Newcomer Morph was added to the roster so the kids at the time could experience the trauma of watching a team member die in the first episode. Or maybe it was the second episode. It was a 2-parter.
Wolverine! Pull back!
Oops, sorry. Spoiler alert for anyone who might have missed that emotional milestone.
I'll avenge you, my friend. I swear it.
By the way, can we chat for a minute about the X-Men Adventure comic book? It was an adaptation of the X-Men animated series that doesn't mind adding to the source material. In it, we get to spend a little bit more time with the doomed shapeshifter, and we learn that Morph had a rather dark premonition just before his death, something they definitely left out of the television show.
This one's for you, Morph!
We were also introduced to several new mutants throughout the series, some good, others evil. The popularity of X-Men, the animated series, led to a plethora of cross-promotion as well. There were fruit snacks, of course, and prizes in every single box of Cookie Crisp cereal.
Now there's one Flair Ultra Marvel X-Men trading card free inside specially marked boxes of Cookie Crisp.
I get incredibly nostalgic thinking about all the times I'd be sipping on high C, reading X-Men bios while enjoying a delicious bowl of Chef Boyardee pasta. If I remember correctly, some of the pasta shapes you'd discover would include Beast, Rogue, Professor X, Wolverine, and a mystery villain. I want to say it was Mr. Sinister, but I wouldn't bet money on it. You could get an X-Men playset at Hardee's with the purchase of a value meal, but that was nowhere as cool as what Pizza Hut had planned, because no one out-mutants the Hut. So let's all take a step back in time for a moment. 30 years ago, the folks over at Pizza Hut set up a meeting with the incredibly talented people over at Marvel Comics. At the time, the only thing hotter than the X-Men might have been the cheese on a slice of pan pizza. The combination of Pizza Hut and X-Men was a match made in Westchester County. Pizza Hut started marketing their X-Men cross-promotional campaign in 1993. Artist Joe Madureira gave us an incredible illustration to help fans get pumped up. He had already been making a name for himself over at Marvel, having worked on the Deadpool miniseries. This was at a time when I was still enjoying the character, way before the market was oversaturated with Wade Wilson. One thing I also enjoy about Madureira's illustration is that in addition to the core members of the team, Bishop also makes an appearance. Now, as you can see, the kids' pizza pack included a single-topping personal pan pizza, 16-ounce collector's cup, and an original X-Men comic book. I held on to issues 3 and 4 even after all these years. The popularity of the X-Men comic book campaign was so incredible that Pizza Hut decided they needed to do a second wave just a few months later. This time around, customers at Pizza Hut could snag trading cards, a fold-out poster, and one of 2 VHS tapes containing episodes of the X-Men cartoon. So as you can see, I picked up X-Men Creator's Choice #1, containing the first episodes of the animated series Night of the Sentinels. Now I could relive the horror of watching Morph's death over and over.
Wolverine, pull back!
In addition, both tapes included creator interviews with Bob Harris, Fabian Nicieza, Scott Lobdell, and the legendary Stan Lee.
30 years of history, you walk into Martin Goodman's office, you want to come up with the X-Men, you want to publish the book. How'd it come about?
It's very difficult to figure out how a superhero becomes a superhero. You can't keep having characters bitten by a radioactive spider or hit by a gamma ray or zapped by cosmic rays. Then it occurred to me there are such things as mutants. Well, if you could say that somebody is just a mutant, he was just born that way, that's a logical explanation, an easy explanation, and I can forget about radioactivity.
The scale of both of these cross-promotional campaigns were astonishing. The collaboration between Pizza Hut and Marvel Comic Books was incredibly successful and wildly popular. Since the 90s, the X-Men have remained popular in comics and animation. There have been a few more video games, and Marvel's mutants even took the leap to the silver screen. Still, most folks my age look back at the 5 seasons of the X-Men animated series we received during the 90s with admiration, which is why I'm so excited to see the return of this version of the team in X-Men 97. But I don't know, what do you think? Are you excited for a new X-Men cartoon on Disney+? Do you remember the time Marvel Comics teamed up with Pizza Hut? Tell us all about it in the comments section below.
I don't know about you, but I'm craving a personal pan pizza. Something fierce.
Me too. Let's check with Wolverine and see if he'd like to join us for dinner.
I go where I wanna go.
I figured he might say that.
X-Men!
I want to thank That Weekend Warrior for helping us out with this video. You'll definitely want to check out his channel as well. And if you enjoyed this video, please drop a like and consider subscribing to Retro Spectrum.